My next guest is a returning guest. If he's going to do such a good job, he'll keep coming back on. From Young Voices, Connor Vasile. Wanted to ask him, he's a political pundit. What did he think about Biden's press conference last night? Connor, do you think he helped his cause?
Well, James, I don't think it helped too much, but it depends on how you look at it. I mean, he certainly had a moment or two there. We thought that maybe his different scheduling, he can't take any more meetings after 4 p.m. He might be a little more rejuvenated, but unfortunately for him, I don't think that was the case.
Well, I think if you're a Republican, you've got to be loving the result. You didn't want him to melt down so bad that the Democrats knew what they had to do and replace him, and let's go ahead and get that process started. I think you guys benefit from having the decision still be up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, this is entirely unprecedented. We don't know what's going to happen. However, from what I did read, apparently, allegedly, one of the Democratic staffers was laying down on the floor while he was giving his nice Bidenism. So I don't think they had a very good night.
Well, the spin machine is still split. And I've noticed, it's been my observation, Connor, that the people inside the Beltway have a tendency to lean toward Biden. The people outside the Beltway have a tendency to want him to step down. And as examples, like AOC is sticking with him, Senator Coons, these two people are inside the Beltway, they're sticking with him. But George Clooney, not a fan anymore. And some other people outside in the entertainment world especially are calling for him to step down. Now, what do the insiders see that the outsiders don't?
What I'd give to be in that room, I have no clue. However, I would like to point out that besides the obvious, what this sort of decline in the Democratic Party and Biden's performances should really be showing Americans is not only how disorganized and unprepared they are for this election, but also exactly how ruthless the game of politics can be. No matter what Biden's mental health or performance or capacity, they will push him because at the end of the day, they have their agenda. And that doesn't only work for Democrats, that's Republicans too, depending on what their strategy is. So at the end of the day, the American people need to realize that this is what real politics is. It's ruthless, it's in your face, it's unapologetic. And they're going to do what they think is needed to be done, even if it's at the detriment of, let's say, an economic policy or national security or the well-being of the American people. It's just politics to them.
Well, if he can do decent, as in not have the freeze frame moment, maybe he stumbles, maybe he calls Kamala Trump or he calls Zelensky Putin, but as long as he does kind of this good, I don't think they can force him to stay out, and he still has an excuse in his head that, no, I'm doing fine, I can stay in. I think this thin ice that they're skating, they're going to skate this right into November.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing going in Biden's head right now is Jenny's chocolate chip. But besides that, they're just going to push whatever they need to do at this point. He's clearly not in control, and we just have to see in the coming months because at this point in time, they're just doing what they need to do to save face.
Well, the other thing that's been pointed out, I'm not the only person to notice this, but in the last 2 weeks, Donald Trump, who's usually a big, bombastic loudmouth who sucks up all the oxygen in the room and can control the narrative, he's laid low. He hasn't said anything crazy or given anybody any excuse to talk about something other than Biden's mashed potato brains.
It's slightly frightening, isn't it, right?
Is this a new, more disciplined Trump? Yeah.
That would be a good turnaround, but we'll see. In terms of his strategy and going into this November, if he keeps this up and just let the Democrats, fall on their faces, I mean, that would be technically a really good strategy to keep. It's certainly a breath of fresh air. I mean, what worked in 2016 definitely will not work this year. But that means that maybe we're going to have a new organized, level-headed sort of Republican runner this time.
We also have a big chunk of the media pivoting to Project 2025. And look, when you look into it, you find out that, the Heritage Foundation, that's not a crazy far-right radical fascist group, Christo-fascist or whatever the term they want to put on it. And every 4 years they put out their sort of wish list of what they wish the next president would do. How is it that so many people have seized on this like this is some sort of new dastardly blueprint to bring in the Fourth Reich?
You know what? I'm offended by your statement, sir. Anyone right of Che Guevara is far right in my book. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
But no, this is obviously this is just another stunt they're trying to pull. They're trying to basically detract attention away from Biden and what he's doing and what his team isn't, and basically trying to put that focus back onto Trump to remind the American people, do you really want another Trump presidency? You know, all these mean tweets, everything he said, etc. So they're really just trying to change focus to distract the American people off of what this administration has been doing. I think that's what they're doing.
Let's end this conversation with just rank-based speculation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Joe Biden seems awfully confident about staying in the race and his chances of winning, even if he is stumbling around. Does he know about some sort of October surprise or maybe ballot stuffing effort that the rest of us don't? Because he seems awfully confident, more so than his performance allows.
Potentially, I think what's a better or a more probable explanation is that he, as someone who is potentially suffering from some sort of mental disorder, they are overly confident in their potential, in their capacity. So I think it just comes down to that, and his family's just pulling the strings at this point.
Well, that sounds funny, but it's kind of concerning because, the judgment area of his brain, that's really the only part of the president that matters. We don't worry about him too much if he's stumbling or if he has gray hair or if his eyesight is weak. We really just only care about the judgment part. And that doesn't make me feel a whole lot better, Connor.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, we could have a president that's 200 years old, but if he or she is, there mentally and present, then it shouldn't matter at all. But in terms of any surprises or ballot stuffing, hey, it's all on the table, All
right, Connor Vasile, tell them where they can find you outside of the James Show.
Thank you, sir. You can find me on Twitter, Connor_Vasile, V as in Victor. Also, my books, one is timely. I'm Joe Biden on Amazon.
What's that one? I'm Joe Biden.
I'm Joe Biden, in his own words, is basically in his over 50 years as a politician. We have various moments and quotes and some snappy commentary to go along with it, so it's not just a regular old quote book.
Cool. Connor Vasile, thank you very much for being on the James Show again.